Hello and welcome to this video on upgrading GTViewer Data Server version 4 to version 6. If you're currently on version 5, there'll be another video for upgrading it to version 6. There's many ways to upgrade GTViewer Data Server. The most extreme would be to make a copy of everything first and then delete your installation and then start with a fresh installation of version 6. There's a video on this if you'd like to do that, but I think there's an easier way to do the upgrade, and I'm going to walk you through that in this video. One of the requirements for GTViewer Data Server version 6 is to have the .NET framework runtime for version 4.8. If you don't have that installed, and you might not have that if you're on version 4 of GTViewer Data Server, then you need to install that now. However you normally install the .NET framework is fine. There may be restrictions on your server or your environment, but you just need to get the .NET framework runtime download. I'm going to go to their website, and you need 4.8, which is the last one of the classic .NET framework. And I've already got it installed because I'm on Windows Server 2022, but if you don't have it installed, you're going to have it installed before you can go to version 6 of GTViewer Data Server. Okay, this machine is running version 4.007 of GTViewer Data Server. I just want to quickly show that it's up and running. I'm going to go to a browser and type in http:// the name of this machine is GTVDS demo. I'm going to go to the GTViewer directory, the admin directory, and call the reset server ASPX page. Now, the fact that I get results means that it's up and running. It's telling me the version here. If I can click the right button. Right there's 4.0.7. I've already tested the download. Everything's working. I'm assuming everything's working on your server, and if it's not, make sure it's working before you go any farther. So I'm going to close that out. I'm going to go to our C drive, to our inetpub directory, www.root, and the GTViewer directory. Now this is version 4.0.7. The first thing I would do before starting an upgrade is to make a copy of this directory. Now, you may not want to copy all of your GIS data, your GTViewer data projects, but you need to copy everything that is of importance besides that. The only thing I have in mind is the demo data, which is not very large, so I'm going to copy the whole thing. And I'm just going to copy it down to the desktop, just so we have it, just in case. You should always make a copy first. I'm going to bring it over here and rename it, just so we know what it is. And now it doesn't matter if we mess things up. We can always go back to the original. So let's go into our GTViewer directory, and we're going to delete everything that we don't need for version 6, or that's going to be replaced by version 6. And I'm also going to keep everything that requires setup or configuration, like the log files directory or the web app directories and the web app images. Not only do the web app directories need configuration to set the right permission, they may also have data that your users have posted to the server, and you definitely don't want to delete that. Other things of importance is your master manifest INI file, and also your web config file. There may be parameters in there that we want to use in the next version. And in your bin directory, there's your user's INI file. So I'm going to go through the directories and delete everything we don't need. The admin directory is not used by version 6 of GTViewer Data Server, so I'm going to delete that. In your bin directory, we can delete everything but the user's INI file. The demo data, which is the only data I have, is going to be redelivered, and possibly a newer, better version is going to be delivered. So I'm going to delete that. Our help file is going to be replaced, so I'm going to delete that. Our log file directory we want to keep. simply because the permissions are already set, and I don't want to have to go through the process of resetting write permission for the application pool user. The same for our web app data and web app images. There is some data in here. This is just the demo data, and there's some demo data that's data collection data that's provided by default. These won't matter for your installation, but you may have your own data that's been posted, and you do want to keep that. That's very important. Same for images. I don't have any images posted because these data collection forms didn't post any images, but yours may have, and you definitely don't want to delete those. The rest of these files, I'm going to select them all, but I'm going to unselect the manifest INI file because we want to keep that. And I'm also going to unselect the web config file because even though we're not going to reuse that specific one, we may want to get the settings out of it for our next version. So I'm going to delete all that, and I'm going to rename our web config to webconfig.old. And that should be everything we need that is going to move forward to version 6. So I'm going to go to my GTViewer Data Server version 6 distribution files. This is what you would get from GTI for the product for version 6. I'm going to open up this directory. I've just copied to this machine in advance. In the inet pub www root GTViewer directory, this is the version 6 set of installation files. Version 6, I made sure to make sure that there's no active files, like there's not a user's INI file that's going to copy over the one you've got. It's got sample on the end. There is a manifest INI file, but it's also got sample on the end, so it won't replace the one you've got. The log files directory, it's got a readme file in it. That isn't going to hurt anything. The web app data directory's got the same sample posted data for the demo data set. This doesn't matter for you. It's going to just overwrite the ones that I've got, but it isn't going to overwrite anything else that you might have had in there. So I'm going to go back up a level, and I'm going to select everything in this directory and copy it. And then I'm going to go back to my C:\, inetpub, www root, GTViewer directory, and paste this in. Now it says there's some things that will be replaced. I know we're safe to do this, but I'm going to say let me decide so I can show you what it's going to replace then and why it doesn't affect you. The README files and the directories, those are just placeholders so the directories get preserved. This project elect gas demo info DTA, you don't want those replaced, or it doesn't matter if they're replaced, they're just the demo data, and it's really just the project info. It's not even data. There's some more README files. They don't matter either. So I'm going to say continue, and everything got replaced except the manifest, our old version of the web config. It did give us a new web config, and if we go in our bin directory, there's more. There's a Roslyn directory, and it kept our user's INI file because it only gave you the sample. So version 6 has now been installed. Our write permissions for log files should still be there. There is a new directory, web app files. Not only can your data collection apps post images in version 6 of the GTViewer Data Server, it can also do files like PDFs or Word documents, whatever other kind of files you want. It can also post those, and that's where they go. Now, this is a new directory. If you're going to be using that, you do need to add the write permission for your application pool user. There are several other new files in this list. There's a new favicon. There's the admin directory is gone, as I mentioned before. The Roslyn directory was new. I think there's a few other additional pages that we can go. So the next step we're going to do is update our web config file with our our old parameters from our old one, and there's some new things we have to set as well, and we'll do that in the next step. Okay, let's open up our web config file, the one that was delivered with the GTViewer Data Server version 6. And I'm going to open up the old one as well for comparison. I'm going to try to get both of these on the same screen. I'm going to put this one on the right and this one on the left. Okay, so the left one is the new one, and the right one is our original one from version 4. They're mostly the same. There's a few new entries and a few entries that have gone away. Ones that have gone away are GT Share Redline mode. We're only supporting web apps in the future, so there's no reason to have that entry. There are new ones like allow safe passwords, HTTPS only, usage path, data path, registration. Now it's up to you to look at the same entries and copy over any custom values that you've used. Mine are pretty much the same. A lot of these may or may not matter. This one here, the default logging level probably should be set back to 0 like that one. And the new ones, I'll just leave the default. The registration key, though, must be set by the registration key you've been provided by GTI, and it has information like how many licenses you have. Now, I already have a key. I'm going to open up this one and just paste in my key. It's just a bunch of strange letters that can be decrypted into the information you need, and you do have to have that. It will not run without it. And I'm going to save that. If you did have any other custom changes, and I would say 99% those custom changes are in this app settings section, but if you did have changes in this information below, you'll have to figure out what the differences are and update it as well. So I'm going to get out of the web config. There's one other thing that you need to do. In your users INI file, I've only got one user in mine. You do have to have a user in the admin group to run some of the tools for version 6. And if you don't have an admin user, which you won't if you're running version 4, you're going to have to add one. And I'm just going to add one called admin. The password is going to be admin123*, and the group is admin. Now, the important thing here is this group has to be admin. It doesn't matter what the name of the user is, because that's not what it's based on. It's based on the group, and the group needs to be admin. You only need one of these. You can have more than one, but you have to have one, or you can't run the tools like the reset tool, which is what we're going to do next. So I'm going to save that. And I'm going to go back up to the GTViewer directory. Now you're going to notice there's no admin directory anymore, and that's where your reset server.aspx file was that you used in the past. And that's gone away and been replaced by the GTVDS reset tool. Now if we go to our delivered files for version 6, there's a tools directory, and in that tools directory there's GTVDS reset. And if I run it, I'm going to close off some of these windows so you can see it better. I've run it before, so it's already got the last information in it. I'm going to clear it out just so we can do it from blank. The server is the server we're on, which is GTVDS demo. Now remember, it will add the GTViewer and the HTTPS:/ at the beginning. Now the user, and this is why you needed that admin user, it has to be a user in the admin group. So I'm going to say admin. The password was admin123*. There's a show button here if you want to make sure. I'm going to check the save password, or it was checked before. If you're concerned about security and someone using this tool, then don't check it and it won't remember the password. This doesn't do anything destructive. It's just resetting the server and reloading the configuration. So I'm ready to try it. I'm going to press the reset button. It takes a second to spin up, and here's our information. This is similar to what the reset server.aspx file did. It gives the new version, which is 6.0.0.1. This is what we want. I don't see any errors. I see the electric gas project, which is our demo data, and that all looks good to me. Now, GTViewer Data Server version 6 also has a default page. You can go to a browser. GTV DS demo is my server. I'm going to put the whole thing. HTTP DS demo GTViewer, and it's default HTML. And what you see here is just an icon in the middle for GTViewer Data Server. But the important thing is this little block of versions over here on the left, upper left. It's telling you the version of GTViewer Data Server and some of the components. If you don't get this little block of versions, something's wrong. So, and you need to figure out what that was, and you go to the log file to figure out what it is. Now, we already ran the reset tool, so we already knew it was running. But if we'd run this first and we didn't get this block of versions, you'd know you need to go do something to see what's wrong. Now there's one final test we can do. If we go back to our delivered files for version 6 and go in the tools directory, we can go to the GTViewer data client. This is a Windows app that will download the GTViewer projects to a Windows machine. It's the same process as GTViewer for iOS or Android use. It's just on Windows instead of the devices. I've run it before, so there's already some information here. I'm going to put it in this data directory. It's just a directory for my files that it's going to download. I'll enter this again just to show GTVDS demo. I'm going to use the demo user. The demo is the password. That's the only other user. I'll save my password and connect. You'll see that it's got one project to download. I can say refresh all, and it will download it again. And this is a pretty good test to show you that it's working. It takes a few seconds to run through all the files, and now we've got a green line showing that it's current. And I think this shows that everything in our upgrade went as planned. So there are some other differences with GTViewer Data Server version 6, and I might cover that in another video, but it's also in the documentation, and the documentation is in the delivered files at the root level. Here's GTViewer Data Server directory. I don't have anything to open that up. And there's also a README that tells you the version. That concludes upgrading GTViewer Data Server version 4 to version 6. If you have any problems, make sure to first check the log files. You can also go to gtviewerblog.com, and you can go to our website, gti-us.com. Thanks for watching. Bye.